The year is 2012. I have now graduated high school. I'm trying to figure out what young Nate wants to do with his life. My buddy Steven and his father purchased a Countach, which was the gate to get into the automotive world for myself. My family, my past was not into cars. I'm the one that's into cars. And so I took on a huge affinity to the Countach because that was the first real crazy special car that I got to not just be around, but open the door, shift the shifter, put in the clutch, start it up, see what it's like, hear the V12. I'm hooked. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with my life. Steven's father would take the Countach into a shop that ended up being where I got an internship with. This was the first real take a shot on Nate, get a job, work on some cars, change some oil, learn some basics. This is how you take the tires down to the tire shop and change out these wheels for this wheels. This is how brakes work. This is how you flush coolant. And the idea was I just had to help out the owner of the shop, and whatever he needed done, that's what I did. And that transitioned into, Nate, you got to drive this car. This is how this transmission works. Got really, really well versed with F1 Ferrari transmissions. It's a very misunderstood transmission. I think there's definitely an interesting thing with that of just knowing how to drive them right completely changes the dynamic of the car. Working with the guy that I got to work with, him actually explaining this is how you drive these cars. This is how you pull out of a parking lot and make sure you're not slipping the clutch, but you want to be firm with the car, but you don't want to be, this is someone else's car, so you don't want to be taking liberties that you shouldn't. It was just drinking from a fire hose with information, and this is how this car works, and the leather in this car is different from this car, and this half a year is different from this full year, and it's just so much Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati, Aston Martin, you name it, and pretty much anything from the mid 70s up until, and this is back in 2012, so it was mostly cars that were getting out of warranty. So this is mid 2000s, so every 2004 Gallardo that's looking for its first independent shop because the dealer has done this to them and they're looking for another way of maintaining the car, and this is this guy's 360, and this is this guy's first gen Mercy. And so being able to get familiar with these cars was just a gift. Getting into cars and playing Need for Speed and being a kid, with a GameCube and a PlayStation and growing up, these are the cars that I'm lusting over. And the idea that I'm now fresh out of high school, I'm 17 years old, and I'm not just getting seat time in these cars. It's, hey, go put a quarter tank through this thing. Go see what's wrong with it. Go see after now we've put new tires on it and it has a balance issue, take it up to what it needs to get taken up to and see where it's at, and go put 40, 50 miles on it to make sure the TPMS reset properly. Gladly, no problem with that. I'll go put 50 miles on this car. No problem with me. Shop was a really interesting and incredible at the same time work environment because there was a big amount of very fast track trust that had to be established that, I don't have all sorts of experience with these cars. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know how to follow directions. And if someone lays out X, Y, and Z, I'll do X, Y, and Z. But the idea of I'm 17, I've changed my own oil before on my car, but not something like this. And now, hey, go do a oil change, and then go set the service indicator light, and then go make sure everything works, and then park it out front, and cool. That's what I'm doing today. Like any other small business, there's ups and downs. There's leaps that you need to take by buying machinery and tools and all sorts of things that from a young 17-year-old's mind I can't understand. I am not the business owner. It's an independent business, and there was definitely some weirdness when it came to getting paid sometimes, to you're working and, the lights shut off and there's some customer conflict, and now, the credit card terminal has been ejected into the parking lot. There was a lot of smoothing out some kinks that had to get figured out. But the thing that I realized about an opportunity like this, many people, as soon as you face some adversity with a short paycheck or just something that doesn't go your way with, working with a small business, people can be turned off, or people think that it's not for them and the passion starts to die off. And to me, what I realized about an opportunity that this created for me was that this is the most open door possible, that if I wanted to have that hunger and go after this world, this was the starting point. This was how I learned how to mop a floor. This is what it was like to be given at 17 years old. This is a copy of the shop key. And if you need to do what you need to do, or if you're here late or you're here early, here's real responsibility. This is me being able to take life into my own hands and say, if this is something that I'm interested in, which I am, this is how you get your foot in the door. This is how you're not just a pawn at a dealer. This is how that door opens that inch, and by taking the mile, that's what propels you into this next part of what you can be. I would definitely say this is one of the biggest opportunities for anyone that's either looking to change career paths or they're young and want to get interested. You get to understand how well-rounded a business is, and it's not as simple as you show up at 9 and you leave at 5 and you take your lunch. There's things that you get asked to do. There's things that are out of your comfort zone that really push you to get to that next level. There's things that give you, if you want the opportunity, people that are in the position to give out responsibility, they'll give it to you. They want to give it to you. They want people like us to take something on and own it like it's ours, because that's what they're doing for themselves. Being able to have the satisfaction of every time I was hungry and wanted to know something more, all I had to do was ask a question and I got an answer. And it's not me being annoying. It's not me pestering the owner of the shop. It's I genuinely want to understand this information because I'm interested. And this is what fuels the fire for the rest of my life. This is what hooked me. This is now, because of this job, anyone that is interested in cars that can now get into a Gallardo and just, hey, I need to move this from here to here. I'm going to go to the dealer and pick up these parts. I'm going to bring it back and do this level of service work. To me, I don't want to say it's unheard of, because it's completely doable. I just did it. Anybody can do it. But it's having that desire to want to learn and grow, and it's okay to be wrong. And it's okay to make mistakes. And sometimes you got to work on a Saturday, and there's no AC in the shop, and you just got to deal with stuff. And that's the stuff that ultimately builds the character, which is the foundation for your own personal success.
It's Car Trek time again. Today at noon Eastern, we are releasing the first episode of Car Trek 8. It's amazing to think about how many adventures Auto Tempest has taken us on over the last couple of years, and we cannot thank Auto Tempest enough for making Car Trek possible and for their continued support of VINwiki. So please do go watch the first episode of Car Trek 8 and check out Auto Tempest to find your next car. They help you search amongst all the major listing sites at the same time, including giving us the ability to search sites like Facebook and Craigslist nationally. It makes it easier than ever to find your next car, and it's made it possible for us to have all this fun on Car Trek. So check them out now.